The Spanish Model 1916 short rifle. This particular one has been rebarreled in supposedly 7.62 Nato. But when head spacing it, I got some strange results. So, what is this rifle? Well, the Spanish adopted the Mauser 1893 long rifle back in 1893. So they eventually got to make the rifle under license in Spain itself. So after a certain point, Spain manufactured these rifles in their own arsenals in their country. And there are a whole bunch of variations of short rifles and carbines. This one being the 1916 variation, and was actually kept in production until 1951. Then some were converted to 7.62 Nato, and some even to 8mm Mauser. And now thinking of it, several of these 1883 style guns or small ring rifles have been converted into 8mm. So the big fear of firing these and the action not being able to take it, I think, is unfounded. So looking at it, the standard, Type 93 buttstock. This one again, bent bolt handle. And this one is serial number to the receiver or the gun itself. Now, also curiously, there are two sets of serial numbers. There's one here and one on the other side where it was probably originally done before converted. You have a 300-meter sight here, which is something a lot of people do not, realize. It starts at 3. Also, this crest on here is for the civil guard, the sword and the fascist staff. That means that this rifle was produced or used by the civil guard or the police. Okay, pretty simple thing, and it does have this different style protected front sight here, and step the barrel, and it does take a bayonet of some sort. The one I get to fit on the 1893 is a little not quite right. So I believe this used a different bayonet, and that is the original cleaning rod because it locks into place with this rifle. Let's take a look at the other side. Sling loop here on the stock. Standard 93 Mauser. Now this serial number, which has some pitting over it, does match the bolt. And I'm not quite sure, no. And I couldn't disassemble it. And there's your gas port, and there it's stamped caliber 7.62. Got your other sling swivel. So this gun is set up for a side-mounted sling. We have our bayonet lug, cleaning rod, which is original, and another look at the sight. So that's our overview from this point. Now I'll discuss how the action and what I found out about head spacing this gun. This rifle is a basic 1893 action. Like I said, the Spanish made a whole bunch of different variations of carbines and short rifles, and this was the one that lasted until the 50s. You have all your standard Mauser features. the little vent, so in case a case ruptures, it vents gas. And it's basically your standard older 7mm, the 1883 action, which again, much like the FR7, which is based on a gun like this, cocks upon closing. In other words, you don't compress your firing pin spring other than the forward. It's the older Mauser design. Takes stripper clips, has a 3-position safety. Standing up, you can operate the bolt and the gun going all the way to the right, safe, and the action is locked. Now, surprisingly with this gun, I figured it would be chambered for the NATO. So I took my headspace gauges, and the NATO minimum will not close. Okay, it comes down, but it will not close. The no-go for 308 Winchester one, if you watch where I showed the headspace, watch that video, it's a bit of a 1/1000th and a half difference. The no-go closes on the 308 Winchester no-go gauge, closes easily. So that means that this thing is about a 1/2 to 1/1000th off in chamber depth for a NATO cartridge, or the NATO chamber specs. Okay, so is it safe to shoot? Well, the same ammo I loaded and put in these guns, I loaded with the same dies, the same thing, and put them into a commercial rifle, and they fired. So obviously there should not be an issue, but I will approach this with caution. And also I found out that these rifles were made, converted not only to the 7.62 NATO, but also to the 8mm Mauser. Alright? And I believe the Turks bought some of these older Mausers and converted them eventually to 8mm. They may have been 7.63 by 53mm Argentine, but I've seen guns that were 7mm converted to 8. And you don't hear nobody panicking about these. There was one individual that had one of these out, and shooting it, you know, the sights are set for 300 meters, so this will shoot somewhat high, probably at 50 yards, but still, I'll work with this and work with the load, and actually it's pretty neat. I got the Civil Guard crest on there that's visible. I've seen some of these guns that were in pretty beat up condition. But the only thing unusual, of course then again it could be the Spanish design, is it has the 2 screws, 2 Mauser screw style locks, which I believe the later designed Spanish made guns are like that, where the earlier 1893s would only have 2 screws, so a little bit of a variation there. I tried to get this apart. Now this here won't move, or something about how the cleaning rod locks in there. You got to press down, okay, and the cleaning rod will come out as long as you press this here, this, and it comes out. And somehow it slides down in there and locks on this recess. It'll lock into place. And then it also holds this band in place somewhat. There is a tensioning screw here. You can tighten this so it won't slip off. But then when you depress that there, it should release this barrel band so it can come off freely. Well, the only other problem is when you try to do this, like on a 98 with this, to release this barrel band, it's stuck. And all that happens when I compress this to unlock it, it just pulls this out of the stock. So I don't know what happened. I couldn't get it apart to look at it, but we'll see. And the import mark is up here on the underside of the barrel in that area there. So we're going to see how this shoots and compare it with the FR7. I don't believe there'd be a problem in shooting it. It's just strange that it's head spacing when the bolt handle does match the serial number on this side. The second serial number, I don't know if that's because like the Finnish Home Guard, they put a second serial number on for reissue to the National Guard, police, whatever they are. So that might be the case. So again, another interesting gun here. And yeah, we have to depress this down there. And you just push that down to, you hear it lock. And it should go to that point there and it's locked in place. Okay, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.